Bulls!
Call them what you want. Knee knockers, golden nuggets, thigh slappers,
Balls.
But our friends at Manscaped refer to them as the boys, because not every man has children, but every man is responsible for 2 boys below their waist.
Whoa.
Whoa. And you got to trim that up, baby. You got to clean that up. It can be a jungle down there. You got to teach those boys some manners. You know what I'm saying?
Remember Rainforest Cafe?
I do.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
No.
Nobody wants that.
No.
No, that's not good. So here's the deal. There are 3 ball trimmers available to you, okay? We got the Lawnmower family, including the Lawnmower 3.0, the 4.0 Plus, and the 5.0 Ultra.
Wow.
Which I will tell you, I have tried.
Yeah?
I get why they call it Ultra. It's actually way better. It's way better.
You needed the extra powerful one?
No. No.
I'm just asking the question. Maybe other people are in your circumstances and you should guide them.
No, you know what? I'm tired of influencer types doing this. Prove it.
Yeah.
Prove it.
What is it, the Mark Messier speech apparently that was going around before the game yesterday?
Put your balls on
the jersey and go play some hockey.
Yeah.
You know. So listen, Manscaped has got you covered. These trimmers come with a travel case, which that's Jesse's favorite part actually.
Yeah,
he always raves about the travel case.
They updated the travel case to a new one, and it's all sleek and like a hard kind of plastic. It's awesome.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So listen, go to manscaped.com. Manscaped.com.
Yep.
Use the promo code DANGLE. That's fitting.
There you go.
Manscaped.com. Get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code DANGLE. That's 20% off free shipping with the code DANGLE at manscaped.com.
Fun fact, you could actually go to manscaped.com/dangle. And then when you show up, it'll be like, hey, fans of the Steve Dangle podcast, and it greets you. Yeah.
And it'll just enter the promo code for you.
Yeah.
Look at that. Automatically applied. Enjoy at manscaped.com. Let's start the show.
SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
I would like to start today's show with some trivia.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Okay? Stuart Skinner's .881 career playoff save percentage is the lowest of any goalie with 20-plus games played since the 2005 lockout. In the playoffs, that is.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
It's the second lowest of any goalie since 1990, though. Who is the worst? Who has the worst save percentage, has played 20-plus playoff games since 1990?
20 plus.
So, Steve, you're looking at somebody in between. What was the first year? 2000.
Well, it's the
The first stat you
So
gave.
Stuart Skinner's is the worst since 2005,
Okay,
but the
so
worst in the last
You're
since
looking
1990.
for a goalie who played 20 playoff games between 1990 and 2005, Steve Dangle.
Not necessarily. No, it could be later, but yes. But you're
No, what do you mean?
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. He's right. He's right.
I'm almost positive I'm barking up the wrong tree here, but Mike Smith?
Mike Smith, not Mike Smith.
No.
Wrong tree.
If you say who I think you're going to say, I think I'm going to walk
It's
out
not
of the
Felix
studio.
Potvin. Don't
Thank
worry.
God. Okay.
Felix Potvin had a good save percentage.
I thought he did.
He had to. They had no defense.
It's true. Since 1990. Give me a team.
Vancouver.
Dan Kluche?
Dan Kluche.
Hey, well done, Steve.
Wow.
8-7-2.
Ooh.
And people forget because the 2011 team went to the finals and the Sedins and everything, and Kessler and I get out. Yeah, the early 2000s Canucks were unbelievable. Morrison, Naslin, Bertuzzi, Matthias Ohlund, and their goalie was Dan Kluche.
Dude.
And when the internet was new, and I told this story on the stream last night. There was a thing like I remember there was a show on MTV with Darren Jones, who's a friend of mine now, and he basically. You could change and manipulate Google searches. So when you put someone's name in, there would be like a drop-down menu. Darren used to do this all the time with Google searches with his audience. Canucks fans did it, and they did it with Dan Kluche. And so for the longest time, if you searched worst goalie of all time, Dan Kluche's name would come up.
Oh.
And if you put in Dan Kluche in the search bar now, it still says Dan Kluche beach ball.
Oh, yeah, because that was like one of the earliest hockey memes.
Yes.
Was him looking behind him, and a very bright beach ball.
Yes.
Was behind him.
And I felt that was unfair to poor Dan Kluche because he did get them to the playoffs. He just wasn't great in them.
Have you ever seen Dan Kluche fight?
No.
Lunatic.
Good fighter?
I don't know about good fighter as much as mugger.
Just wild.
He fought Tommy Sallow, who is the exact...
Edmonton Oiler. Great. Tommy Sallow. Was he an Islander at that point?
He was an Islander at that point. Or was he? I don't remember who was on which team. I think Tommy Sallow was an Islander and Dan Kluche was a Canuck, and he beat the brakes off that young man.
Really?
Yes, he did. Tommy Sallow, who, by the way, also allowed an infamously bad goal, much to the benefit of Team Canada. He allowed a really shitty goal at the Salt Lake Olympics that I think went off his head, ended up behind him, and who knocked Sweden out of those Olympics? Belarus.
Right.
So Canada played them in the semis. I was in grade 8 at the time. They brought us all into the auditorium. They let us watch the game on a really, really, really tiny TV to try to recreate the 1972 Summit Series that they had when they were kids. And Canada won, I think, 8-1. So it wasn't quite the same.
One of the smartest things the Oilers ever did was replace departing Curtis Joseph, with Tommy Sallow. Tommy Sallow was fantastic as an Oiler.
He did well for them.
He did.
Joseph was better.
He was. Now, let's... I did want to ask you guys, do you have 3 choices, okay? This is pick your own adventure. We can start with Boston, Florida. We can start with Canucks, Oilers. Or we can start with Canada blowing a 5-0 lead.
It says 6-1.
6-1, sorry. 6-1 lead, excuse me.
5 goal.
Excuse me. 5-goal lead at the Worlds to Austria and squeaking one out. Which would you like to start with?
Do you want to start there? Just because, like, I feel like there's not a ton of time we need to spend on it.
Yeah, I feel like that's a fairly quick story.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a moose-bouche.
I think the thing about it is the Tavares quote that's making the round.
Jonathan, that dude, the most influential person in hockey is whoever did Oshawa General's media training in 2009. Because he was told, just every time you lose, say lesson. And he's still doing it.
He's saying less than a lot.
Saying lesson a lot. 15 years later, some odd.
Yeah. John Tavares,
John.
captain of the team. He said, huge lesson early in the tournament. And Leaf fans are taking it predictably well.
What's wrong with the quote? Explain, Steve.
Now I want to do a Google search. I want to find out how many times John Tavares says lesson in a season, because producer Drew is the best. When I shot my video about the Shanahan, Keith Pelly, Brad Treliving press conference, I go, can you do a supercut of every time Keith Pelly mentions he's only been here 4 weeks?
And he'd actually been there 6 weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, first of all, 4 weeks was wrong. Second of all, he said it like 7 times or something like that. If you were to go through the whole season and just isolate John Tavares saying, well, it was a good lesson. We shouldn't have lost, but we lost. And we're going to take, we're going to take what we learned from that, and, we're going to keep that knowledge for the future. And then, maybe we can have recess or something.
Jeez. Brutal. Now, he
awful.
did score the winner.
He did, and
it was a good goal. And he the one thing I'll say is Islanders getting their first playoff win in I don't know how many decades. Leafs getting their first playoff series win in I don't know how many decades.
And
both
Austria.
of these and Canada beating Austria. Overtime, big time player John Tavares. He has done that. He has a propensity for that.
Yeah, I don't want to be the up my own ass, Canadian about all this. Any Austrian hockey fans listening to this right now, holy shit.
You win.
Holy shit.
Even though you didn't win, you win.
I mean, one team's fan base looked like they won, and the others won.
Right. Canadian fans were not thrilled.
Dude, they blew a 5-goal lead to Austria in the third period. No one saw that coming, including the extremely well-traveled Austrian fans. I know they didn't have to travel far, Prague,
But they always go.
Oh man, they packed the place, and I was trying to explain this to my wife, like, how many Austrian NHL players are there currently? 3?
There aren't a lot.
4? It's not a ton. On one hand, extremely, extremely good for Austria.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, the quickness with which Canada won the overtime really illustrated how much they should have won that game. Tavares just sort of went, that's enough. Okay, this is nonsense. Let me just win the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he simply chose to ice it.
Yeah, looking at the Austrian roster, it's really Marco Rossi. It's like, okay, that's the beginning and end of NHL players. But if we want to go there and look at the roster, but the point I wanted to make was, why isn't Jordan Binnington catching more flack for this?
Oh, he is. Don't you worry.
There were 21 shots on goal, and he allowed 6 goals.
Steven Strong. Go look at his third period, dude. His third period, wasn't it 5 goals on 9 shots?
Yeah, when they had the 6-1 comeback. Like, I feel like I'm not the biggest Jordan Binnington fan, so I will take this opportunity to point out that he had a bad game.
Wait, what was that, Jesse? Sorry, speak up.
What?
How can I make this about the Leafs? Thank you for asking. So the way I can make this about the Leafs is people have been talking about, like, who are they going to go out and get, like, in terms of a bona fide starter. Binnington had a really good season this year. He did. His team didn't do so great, but he had a really good season. He is a very hot and a very cold goalie, prone to absolute implosions. And sometimes I think the narrative about playing in Toronto is overblown. That's a guy I wonder about. Like,
if you could handle playing here.
If you're looking for guys who could handle it here, I don't know. He's got a cup. Yes. Right?
Yes.
How's things been since the cup?
He was a large reason they won that cup.
Right.
Out of nowhere, stealing the job, and they rode him to the Stanley Cup.
But how have they Binnington since?
Whoa.
Right.
Hey.
You know?
Here's the thing. It's actually been quite some time since St. Louis won the cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been half a decade.
Like, dude, you can ride a cup for forever.
Yeah.
Forever.
Alan Walsh actually brought up a really good point on our last Agent Provocateur. He said there's a team that I think moved on from their core players too quickly and probably should have had at least another 2 cracks at it. And I'm like, are you talking about the St. Louis Blues? And he's like, the St. Louis Blues, absolutely. You think about what happened with Pietrangelo leaving. I think they thought that they could replace his play by committee, and I understand not wanting to commit to him long-term because at the end of the deal, blah, 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 but you're good now. And then they had Jesse's favorite goalie, Ville Husso emerge, and they're locked into Binnington, and they couldn't quite put it all together all at the same time again.
When they won the cup, did they even have Kyrou and Thomas?
I don't think so.
No. They emerged after that. With Binnington, where's the conversation about him coming to Toronto? Because he's locked in for 3 more years at $6 million.
A trade.
Oh.
No,
That's just, not, I feel like that's just fans making big trades. That's not
it's
any kind of actual news.
What I'm doing is going through the list of people where everyone's like, what about this guy? And that game made me go, perhaps not.
Right.
Well, that and a variety of other things.
I can't imagine what.
I mean, the good news about Binnington, if he were ever to come here, is no other player would ever get spoken about.
Yes, that's true.
Good,
you want to
bad.
take the noise off everybody else, your Binnington would be the guy.
Good, bad, ugly. People would forget Matthews plays here. Like, maybe they should keep Marner.
You wouldn't even know.
Block out the noise.
You wouldn't be aware.
Any.
You'd be watching the goalie the whole time.
That is a white noise machine right there. He blocks it all.
They actually have in St. Louis one of the best, I think, when you think about goalie situations that you can have like, I have my number one starter and he's gonna be paid $9 million. We know that's the number one. You could have the tandems that are like 1-2. I think what they have in St. Louis is my favorite goalie situation, where you have your number one, but then you have the young guy who's probably gonna be the number one in like 2 years.
I think it's very funny that Team Canada has both Binnington and Hoffer.
So they have Hoffer there, and I think like you ride out Binnington, but then you're paying Hoffer less than $1 million because he's on his ELC, and then he just takes the job eventually. And that's kind of like, as a GM, you want to be in that position with your goaltending.
Look at Boston. All right, we got Ullmark. There's a Swayman kid. And last year, he's pretty good. And this year, it's like, all right, no, that's his net. We'll trade him.
Yeah.
we'll trade Ullmark. It's fine. And that's the way it's going to be. But huge congrats to Team Austria and all their fans.
Unbelievable.
They get. I don't know what the table looks like. I've been too focused on the Stanley Cup playoffs. But that's, I believe, a point in the standings and a huge one for Austria, because you look at that game and you probably assume you're not getting a point.
It's their only point of the tournament so far in 3 games played. They sit 7th in Group A, just above Great Britain, who has no points.
In 2 games.
In 2 games, yeah. So they're a game behind the rest of the table. Norway's got 4 games played, but Canada still sits atop the standings, which is good. But they're tied. It's not like it's a runaway tournament right now for Canada.
Well, Canada lost a point.
Yeah, because overtime wins are less points than a regulation win. Yes.
Wow,
Gotta love international play.
Through 3 games, they're tied with Switzerland, which is probably not a position anyone. Dude, look at that friggin' group. Canada, Switzerland. Switzerland is good. You'd probably put Canada a tier up. Then there's Finland and Czech Republic, which I would say are like perennially in the elite group. And then it's Norway, Denmark, Austria, and Great Britain.
The biggest shock for me right now is in Group B. The USA has really struggled, going 1-1-1. That's 1 regulation win, 1 overtime loss, and 1 loss.
That Slovakia game was really nasty.
They only got 4 points so far on their table, and they sit 4th in Group B, which isn't what I expected at all. But these World Championships are always kind of iffy because you never know which guys are going to go.
Well,
it's not really the look ahead to the Olympics, because you're not really sure how many guys you're going to get from the full team that's going to go to Paris. Where's the Winter Olympics? Paris is summer.
Isn't it Italy?
Yeah,
Italy. Yeah,
it's
Italy. Next time, yeah.
Well, and you got like an undefeated Latvian team, and Germany is in 7th out of 8, below Kazakhstan and France.
Sorry, that's a Latvian team without Artur Shvilovs.
That's right. That is right.
That's a Germany team without Leon Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh,
Yeah, no, they don't always have all their best players, but no, it's unreal. Can you have the list of goal scorers?
Yeah,
there
I can tell you.
'Cause I just want to go through the names.
You want to know who's?
I just want to know if I recognize any of them. I'm not gonna lie. So we had a group chat going. It was the CJ Show group chat. And we had the advanced stats that were posted on the broadcast for, I think, the first period. And we were laughing because Austria had 23 seconds of offensive zone time.
Wow. Unbelievable. And they show advanced stats, by the way. And it's just cool.
And someone went, wait, it's 6-2? And someone goes, no, it's 6-4. And then the group chat updated to, it's tied. And I immediately, I was trying to get Isla to sleep, but I was like, I'm turning on hockey at 3 p.m.
Why not?
Yeah,
So
and I watched it.
Third period scoring is Benjamin Baumgartner, Peter Schneider, Dominic Zwerger, Peter Schneider again, and Marco Rossi.
Outside of Marco Rossi, I recognize 0 of those names.
Wow.
There you go.
0 of those names. Yeah, man,
Showing your North American bias.
yeah. I know Bennington's catching shit. I don't know if any.
I don't think he is.
I just gave him shit.
Yeah.
No, he's catching shit. But
I think it's not great.
Colton Parayko looked upset. Did you see Caden Gooley accepting player of the game?
Just kind of unresponsive.
Yeah, instead
unemotional.
I was about to say it looked like he lost the gold medal game. It's more like he looked like he was being extradited.
Right.
Actually, we're kicking you out of the tournament. You have to go home. It just looked really. No one won that game.
No,
And if we had to pick a winner,
It's
it would be Austria.
you got to be disappointed for Canada for doing that. 6-1. You should never lose that lead. It's ridiculous.
No,
You shouldn't even lose
forget that it's Austria.
Yeah, if this is 2 NHL teams, if this is Tampa and Florida playing, neither team should lose a 6-1 lead.
How many thousands of games were played in the NHL this year? A 5-goal lead was erased once.
By the Leafs.
It was the Leafs erasing it. I think it was against Columbus.
Yes, Columbus. And then they lost.
And then Columbus won.
They lost in overtime, yeah.
So erasing a 5-goal lead, think twice. It's the kiss of death. You're going to lose in overtime. my God.
Okay. The next one I'm going to choose for us. Natalie Spooner this morning placed on LTIR with a knee injury.
Oh, as soon as
Just pain. Yeah, you can't enjoy Toronto hockey without pain.
as soon as I saw her go down, I'm like, yeah, no, she's done.
Does
It looks so bad.
Does the hockey world realize that we're one Toronto win away from Toronto versus Boston for the championship?
I know. I was talking about it on the stream last night. I'm like, how hilarious would that be? Toronto Montreal would be cool. Toronto Boston would be just...
Toronto Boston. We just had it, and every time we have it, it's ridiculousness, and everybody's upset, and it's all chaos. So the fact that we might get it again in like a couple days is intense.
Well, and Toronto's story gets even better if they do get there, because she's the greatest goal scorer in the sport right now, and they got to do it without her.
Yeah, the whole championship. It's rough. It sucks.
It sucks. It totally sucks. We saw Natalie like a couple of weeks ago, and she was fired up for the playoffs and everything. And then so it's just that sucks. So a shout out to Natalie Spooner, who's always been awesome to us.
And shout out Boston for winning that 3 overtime game last Friday. That was.
I don't think I will. I don't think I'll give them any shout
That was fun to tune into. I was honestly waiting to tweet out MPP does it again because it's a 3 overtime goal. She's out on the ice for
It should have been in draft,
for 60
honestly.
minutes, and I was like, okay, this is gonna happen. She's gonna score, and then Boston did it. So congrats to them. And then they sweep them, and the next overtime win on was that yesterday, the day before. So yeah, Boston looks good. It's not gonna be easy for Toronto if they get through.
If they get through.
If they
gotta get through.
And it doesn't look like they can play at Scotiabank because they're doing renovations. So might have to be
Yeah, because I saw Keith Pelly with the hammer yesterday knocking down the wall for the second part of Scotiabank Arena renovations.
So I guess it'll have to be at Coca-Cola if they have the championship. Which is like unfortunate because I think they could sell out 19,000.
Oh, yeah.
For a finals game.
Sky Dome. Screw it. Sky Dome. Open dome. I don't care what temperature it is.
Do you want to score? Do you want to see more goals than baseball? A lot more?
Yeah.
I haven't even paid attention to the Blue Jays. They were so depressing. How are they doing?
It's not been great. The last game was rained out, so they had a chance to win their series against Baltimore, but it was rained out. So, but the offense still isn't there. Like Alec Manoah's back. Like he had a great start, and the Blue Jays did nothing in the offensive side, so he lost.
Cool.
Put up like 7 innings of 1-run ball. It was awesome.
That's amazing. Good
and
for him.
then they provided 1 run, so it's like they sucked.
The Blue Jays, I'm able to protect myself mentally. Like I'm able to put up roadblocks in my head that I'm not able to do for the Leafs. So I go there invested and wanting them to win. But if they suck, I go into this mode where it's just about beer and hot dogs and sunshine. And that's all I care about. And I'm just chilling with
You can't take the summer heartbreak, the summertime sadness?
No, why would I? What's being sad in June for what? For what? For what?
Yeah, baseball can just be a good day outside.
Yes.
It's July.
It doesn't have to be about your team winning.
It's 28. It's like partial cloud. What am I sad for? What am I in a bad mood for? Beer and hot dog.
One of the best times at a ballpark that I had recently was going to Yankee Stadium with you when we were down in New Jersey for the John Boy floorball tournament. And the Yankee crowd is so much different than a Toronto crowd.
Alive.
Like they're just talking the whole time. Everybody's having a conversation.
Strangers.
Yeah, and the Mets fan who was there.
Oh, no.
It was a Houston Astros.
During a Mets game.
It was a Houston Astros New York Yankees game at Yankee Stadium, and a Mets fan showed up while the Mets are playing, I think on the road somewhere. But
Getting killed, by the way.
Yeah, you could see the out of town score, but he showed up there just to boo the Yankees.
Yeah.
And he's
That's
there
incredible.
every night just to boo them.
That's incredible. That's funny.
And he was on them. And a guy took a picture with Jesse and I.
Yes.
You know why? Well, a guy behind us took a picture with us because he was a podcast fan.
Yeah.
Oh.
The guy in front of us took a picture with us because we were from Canada.
We were Canadian.
Wow, you exotic twosome.
Yeah. It was
Wow,
like
what's it like up
It's
there?
like we were born on the moon.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours away. Like it's a 3-hour drive.
It's an hour and a half flight. Like,
Amazing. That's incredible.
oh my god.
Hour and a half.
I don't know, from like.
I think it was even less than that.
I don't know. Less, yeah.
Just like we barely finished the movie.
Right.
I saw you were watching something that looked interesting, and you gave me.
I think I was probably watching BoJack.
No, you were watching something about the devil. Someone was
devil?
the devil.
I don't remember.
I can't
Do you like
remember.
scary
What
movies?
movie was
Jesse?
it? Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, I
Scary
didn't know
shit's
that.
awesome. Yeah.
What's your
we talked
favorite-
about it on the VIP.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, some of my favorite shows that have come out recently. The limited series, like Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor.
It was like this demon visits this girl, and she's
I guess Steve was watching your movie too.
I know. Did I have
you gave me an earbud because you're a gem.
Oh,
Did I?
that's-
Yeah, you did. That's all. I don't remember. I don't remember.
was-
What movie was this?
It was the apocalypse was happening, and this demon visits this girl and tells her you can prevent the apocalypse if you like kill 3 people or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that movie called?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
It was pretty good.
Claymation.
Oh, but I'll look it up. Yeah, no, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, was that the one with Dave Bautista and the one in the cabin? That wasn't that
No.
one. No. You're not talking about that one. Somebody who's listening is.
I think it was British. I think it was.
It was British.
Yeah.
It was a British horror movie. It's
Someone's-
on Netflix.
There are approximately 7 or 8 people listening to the show right now going, "It's this." It's that. And everyone else is like, I don't know.
If we move on the conversation and I go look at my Netflix, I'll find it.
He'll
in like
find
5
it.
seconds.
Nice. Yeah. Go find what you were. Go find what you were watching in August of 2023.
Oh, easily.
Yeah,
Steve had AG1 today.
I did, and yesterday.
Do you feel more like Jesse?
I do. I measure myself a 1/4 centimeter taller.
No, that is an incorrect. We can't make
No,
that claim.
No?
you can't.
We can tell you that it supports great gut health. We can tell you that you feel a lot more energetic.
It was a fluke then, I guess.
Yeah, you could tell.
He was on his tippy toes.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and here's the thing. Jesse's pretty calm and cool and collected, as you know. Steve and I, maybe not so much. People that are on AG1 say that their stress levels feel more manageable. So
I wouldn't say on AG1.
Well, drinking AG1.
You drink it every day
Consuming
because
AG1.
it's very easy to get all the vitamins you need for a day by drinking AG1. It's just an easier way to get all of those nutrients you need for your gut health and like performance and all that stuff just by drinking that. I would say you're on AG1.
I took a scoop, I put it in water,
Yeah.
I shook it up, and I drank it.
There you go.
That's it.
8 to 12 ounces of water in the little AG1 bottle that it comes with. 1 scoop every day. You drink it. I like drinking it on an empty stomach, so it feels like, oh, all that's going through my body.
At least 10 minutes before your first meal is what they recommend.
Now, if you want to take ownership of your health, it starts with AG1. Try AG1 and drink 1 free, and get, excuse me, you don't have to drink 1 free year supply. You try AG1 and you get a free 1-year supply of Vitamin D3K2 and then 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase of drinkag1.com/STP. Go to drinkag1.com/STP. Check it out.
That was a great ad.
I want to ask you guys this. This is making the rounds this morning. It's gone a little bit viral. This is an Oilers fan, Garrett 055134112.
We didn't really talk about this on Monday. Like, what a completely friggin' unhinged series in terms of media.
Yes, yeah, we're going to right now. That's why I'm getting into the intro
No,
of it.
so Jesse,
That's where I'm going with this. So,
I don't think you have to interrupt him.
I don't know if I believe this, but
never have
it's
to.
so improbable that it's crazy that it's actually happened, but I never actually fact checked to see if this is all possible. But this is a $1
that's a trademark of this show.
$1 parlay. Okay? Under 0.5 goals in the first 10 minutes. Evan Bouchard with over 2.5 shots. Leon Draisaitl with over 3.5 shots. Connor McDavid with over 3.5 shots. Brock Besser with over 0.5 assists. Evan Bouchard with over 0.5 assists. Matthias Ekholm with over 0.5 assists. Time of Edmonton's first goal score before 15:30 elapsed. Edmonton Oilers to score last.
So wait, no goal in the first 10 minutes, but before 15:30?
Yeah, so this is the time of the Edmonton first score.
How many friggin' good Lord.
Yeah. And then Edmonton Oilers to score last. Team scoring first wins the game, yes. And then team to win most periods, Edmonton Oilers, because they won 2 of the 3 periods. And so according to this
Just
screenshot,
clicking at random?
I know, according to this screenshot, $1 wager, $951 payout.
Yeah, because that's a $1 donation
Yeah.
on every night except last night.
Yeah. Isn't that nuts?
What the
I thought that was crazy.
Damn.
Yeah,
So,
I thought that was
so it hit.
it hit.
Damn.
Yeah, and the game last night was really kind of bad, but for the Oilers, it was good.
Really?
Yeah, it was boring. The last period was better.
I mean, 5 goals after Canucks Preds. I thought that'd be a barn burn.
Well, it wasn't. It was not exciting. It was the slowest game since Canucks Preds. And I think it's because of one thing. Edmonton finally listened to reason. I don't know what it is with the Oilers. I know that their front of house staff is slightly anti-advanced stats. That's been publicized before. Okay. But if you're watching the series and you're watching your $9.5 million defenseman and his $3.5 million partner get caved time and time again, you'd think that you would split them up.
So my opinions aren't quite as ridiculously minute as they are with the Leafs, but like they're showing the pairings coming across the top of the screen at the beginning of the game, and I see Nurse Desharnais, and for some reason my brain just went, "Oh, they might win."
And here's the thing:
I don't even know if that's a great pairing. I just know that the alternate is horrible.
The expected goals for Edmonton when Nurse and Ceci are on versus when they're off is a difference of 179%.
What?
So when Nurse and Ceci are on, their expected goals for, according to our good friend Travis Yost, for an article he did, 179 different percent. Goals for over 60, the percentage difference is 173%. Goals against per 60, it's negative 53%.
Jeez.
And goals against per 60, expected goals against, and then goals against per 60 is actually a negative 77%. And here's the great thing.
I'm not great at math. How is that possible?
Here's the thing. Last night, you had Nurse Desharnais, which in retrospect makes a lot of sense. Both gigantic and mean, and that's not fun to play against.
Yeah, not the most mobile, but yeah.
You have Kulak and Ceci, third pair.
Kulak,
Third pair on a top-heavy team, I'm fine with it.
Kulak is exactly the sort of guy who should be stapled to Ceci.
Absolutely. He's more mobile than people give him credit for.
And just boring.
And
not chaotic.
Nurse, 65% expected goals at even strength. Ceci, 57% expected goals at even strength. Oilers with a 62% expected goals in the game. That's Travis Yost with the stats on that one. And you know, the funny thing is we were talking about this over the course of the series, and last night people were like, "Hey, like, you know, Darnell Nurse's contract, it's really rough. It's really bad." And we did talk about that on our show too.
He's one of the highest paid defensemen in the league.
Yeah, it's rough. It's bad.
And if you were to have a conversation about who's the best defenseman in the league, you'd have to go pretty damn far down that list to hit Darnell Nurse.
But you keep putting him, like, and I said this in the chat, you keep putting him with Ceci.
Well, what are you doing?
What are you doing? But I don't know, because the numbers are telling you, and I didn't know the numbers until this morning. But
I didn't need to.
But you don't need to. You can watch it. They got caved.
Take it from a Leaf fan. Do not put your highest paid defenseman with Cody Ceci. Stop doing it.
Yes.
How does this guy keep doing it?
Well, and the thing was, Edmonton didn't have to keep him, but they signed him to a contract over $3 million. And this is a guy who is an NHL defenseman. Yeah, he's an NHL defenseman.
Yeah.
He's not in your top 4 ever for any reason.
Or with your top guy. That's your top paid
guy.
I know your top
Bouchard
guy.
and Ekholm are the top
guy. Yeah, I know. But he's your top paid guy. He shouldn't be anywhere near those 2 people.
I have to tell you.
3 people, sorry.
The reason last night was boring, and this is a compliment to the Oilers, is because the defense was awesome. They
made it
awesome.
easy for Calvin Pickard.
Nobody got to the net. Vancouver didn't get anything going off the rush. They didn't get any weird shots through with bodies in front of the net until late in the third period when they came back. It was a really, I can't believe I'm saying this, a defensive masterclass from the Edmonton Oilers.
They've done it. They've done it. They had a 1-0 shutout against the Kings. They've done it. They've done it.
This is a team, though, that on average over the last 5 seasons averages 2.5 goals against per game, but they score 4.5.
And I think some of that is goaltending for sure. Like,
Yeah,
I
agreed.
feel
Of
like
course.
if Stuart Skinner's in there, it's a little more shaky because you don't know what you're going to get out of him. And having Pickard in there, just having a goalie who could make the stops you need to get stopped. Like, we're not asking the Edmonton Oilers goalie to save them a game because they have so much offense that they can get away with not having that game-breaking goalie. Just have a decent guy in there who's going to stop the low percentage shots and even the medium percentage shots that are coming through. And that's what they got out of Calvin Pickard. It was good.
Be marginal.
Yeah, just play solid defense overall and make it easy on your goaltender, and you're going to get the goals to score.
You so often see a goalie come in and be great right away, and then it tails off a little bit. I wonder how you prepare for Calvin Pickard. Like from a playoff perspective, like we talk about the preparation being so different in the playoffs. You microanalyze everything.
Do you mean for the Oilers or the Canucks?
For the Canucks.
How to game him? Yeah.
How do you? The vast majority of the footage you're pulling is probably from Bakersfield.
Yeah, actually, Hayden put together a really cool stat sheet for me before the game last night. He does a really good job with these. And one of the things he said is Pickard and Shilovs played against each other in the AHL playoffs last year.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So it was I'm just pulling it up here. But he said the last time Shilovs and Pickard played was game 2, last year's opening round in the AHL. Abbotsford won the game 4-2 over Bakersfield.
So you're talking about the Canucks having to lean on Abbotsford for information about this guy. Now I know he played in the NHL this year, but
it's just a little different in the AHL. The numbers are just not readily available.
It's just, how many games did he even play?
I don't know. I have to look that up.
What's your lean
Not a
for the rest
lot.
of the series, Adam? Because now it's a 3-game series. You've watched every minute of this series so far. Are you leaning Canucks or Oilers?
So I give the Canucks a ton of credit for being as good as they've been. If the series goes the way it went last night, you guys, okay, so if I'm going to put this in Leaf fan terms, you know the difference between Toronto playing in front of Samsonov and Toronto playing in front of Woll?
It was extremely,
Edmonton
Yeah.
looked confident in front of Pickard. And by the way, they kept shooting his parents like from the thing, and they were rooting for him. It was really sweet. If Edmonton plays like this, Jesse, nobody stands. Like they are very, very dangerous. Like I know everybody's talking about Dallas, Colorado, and everybody said the same thing about Vancouver when they came out of the Nashville series. Oh, the Oilers are going to crush them. They haven't. And so I think you underestimate the Edmonton Oilers. If they play like that, they're going to be a very hard team for anybody to beat. Forget Vancouver.
Here's the problem. If this series goes 7, 2 more games on the road.
I don't think that's a problem.
It's easier.
This is a veteran, and I'll tell you why I don't think that's a problem.
Well, it's easier to be that locked down and prepared and everything at home.
Who's really good at, after they score a goal, allowing a goal immediately?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
And why, guys?
They stink.
No, but also really why? Why are why does that
that's
happen?
a good reason.
Yeah.
But they stink. Why? Stink is the label. What are the reasons for the stink?
They have
want-
absolutely no attention.
You want the answer I think you're looking for? Immaturity?
Immaturity, lack of focus.
Oh, I was going to say always starting the fourth line.
What the Oilers
After a
yeah,
goal.
yeah.
Guys, we have too much momentum.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Listen, you know what's crazy about Rick Tocchet is
Nip that in the bud.
the first goal last night, Connor Garland scores, and who did they put out? Brock Besser right afterwards. And Dakota Joshua gets the goal, gets it later, but they just right out there with the first line.
Man,
But
I feel bad for Dakota Joshua.
hold on, I don't want to go there yet.
Why?
Why do you feel bad for Dakota Joshua? He's on the best line on the team.
Yeah, but last night he ate a punch from Darnell Nurse like it was nothing, and they lost. Like that meme should have lasted.
They'd already
forever.
called a penalty though.
Oh my God! Like you
so
want to talk
Edmonton
about
had-
NHL officiating in a nutshell?
Yeah, you can't get 2 penalties on one play. It's impossible.
NHL
Joshua was arguing
officiating
about
in a nutshell. What that was the first thing that unified Oilers fans and Canucks fans all series long. Is Nurse got 2 minutes there, and Oilers fans and Canucks fans went, "This is bullshit."
So here's what happened though at the end of the game, and I think if you're a Leaf fan and you weren't watching, you can probably relate to this. Vancouver got in the game. They were excited. They tied it up. There's like a minute and a half to go. And what do? They let the Oilers, because what the Oilers do is they put their big guys out there and they're like, okay, fine, we'll take care of business. And the difference with the Edmonton Oilers is they've been there. They've been there. And they go in, Draisaitl gets the puck in, McDavid circling around, Hyman's in front of the net, wagging his butt in front of everybody, which he always does. And puck gets out to Evan Bouchard. The Canucks are down way too low with the Lindholm line out there, and boom, it's a goal. And I think it was one of those where it's like veteran. We have been here before.
They've been
We
there.
are not.
In front of fans.
Yes, we're not afraid of your tying this game up. We don't care. We're going to win it anyway. And I thought that was really gutsy by the Oilers. So, Jesse, the long answer is I think the Oilers have the definitive edge in this series going forward.
Is there a situation where Pickard doesn't have a good game 5 and you go back to Stuart Skinner, or Stuart Skinner just like axed for the rest of the series?
I think everybody was assuming that was going to happen last night, right?
Pickard's
desperation.
Pickard's got to be bad. He's got to be real bad to go back to Skinner right now. It's his net.
Yeah,
It's his net right now.
people were even saying in the chat last night, we're like, what if Pickard is good, but then Skinner feels better, and do they give him the net back? I'm like, no.
What?
No.
Here, what about
No,
this?
man.
What about this? So I have it on my phone. I thought it was less than 20 games. He played 23 games for the Oilers this year. He had a 909.
That's good.
Yeah, he was the backup goalie. Remember, because Jack Campbell failed.
Yeah.
No, I knew he was the backup goalie. I didn't know he played that many games.
No, it was good.
That's just straight up at very least decent goaltender in the NHL. I believe that's above league average. I think league average is like 904, 905 these days. That's just a good goalie. There's no reason to go back to Stuart Skinner. There's a huge sample size that you shouldn't have that person in net if you have a better option available.
The line combinations that the Oilers went with in their forward group, we mentioned the defense, the splitting up McDavid, Draisaitl, clearly worked, I think.
It did, and I think they were putting Draisaitl with McDavid. Sorry.
What do you...
Well, I was going to say why that was such a good idea.
Okay, well, you say it. You go. What do you think? I want to hear.
You have home ice advantage, so you have last change, and also you know the Canucks are shorthanded defensively because Soucy's suspended.
Did you know, by the way, Hayden put this is shocking, worst defense pairings for Edmonton based on numbers?
Last night?
No, before last night.
Okay.
Leading into last night, Kulak Desharnais, which is weird, but I think probably has to do with a lot of the defensive starts that they got.
Yeah, of course.
Vancouver, Soucy Myers.
Really?
Yeah, which I thought was surprising too. And I'm like, wait, so are you telling me
Wait a
that they're
second.
doing a favor?
Why am I surprised by that? Tyler Myers has really changed the narrative about himself, hey?
He's been really good.
Yeah, it's some.
He's been like a Joel Edmondson.
He was so overrated, and he's been called. Well, overrated has been over for several years. It's just he's been called bad, and he's been called bad for long enough that the bar was down here, and now all he's got to do is play decent, and people are like, "This guy's great." Like the narrative's completely.
He's gonna get a nice contract this summer.
You know who
he is.
that happened for? Luke Shen.
Yeah.
We said he was bad for so many years that he got good again.
Yep.
And I don't know if he changed.
So, Adam, you're a fan of having them center their own lines,
Well,
and then
because
I have one follow-up.
It's not like Knobloch is going to not put them together. He does all the time. But here's the thing. You know, with Adam Henrique out, Draisaitl's they got to get Evander Kane going, and he was better. And his other line mate is Dylan Holloway. And no offense to Dylan Holloway, but that is not ideal. And so when you put Nuge there, you're basically guaranteeing the line doesn't do anything. And it's not because Nuge and Kane can't. It's because Vancouver's actually really good. They're quite deep. Now, I want to talk about Vancouver's second line at some point, Jesse. What's your follow-up?
No, the follow-up is Vancouver, because I think the storyline out of that side right now is Pettersson struggles.
Here are Pettersson's line mates throughout the playoffs.
Okay.
Ilya Mikheyev, Sam Lafferty. That was line mates last night.
Sure.
Nils Höglander, Linus Karlsson.
I think Höglander's probably the best player.
Listen. I will grant you that an $11.6 million player needs to be a driver of his own line.
Is that what he signed for?
Next year, yeah. That's when that kicks in next
I
year.
was wondering that on the way here.
That's
He
a
had
good
89
deal.
points, though.
That's a very good deal.
I think that's a fair deal.
Yeah, but like you gotta perform.
Yeah, you do.
Take it from us. You need your expensive guys to perform.
There are rumors that he might be ill or
Injured. Yeah.
something because it doesn't feel like him, right? He's not dominating play the way you would expect.
Kind of.
What?
He's a little streaky.
Yeah, he might. Yeah.
And his on streaks are, that's the best player in the world.
And the problem is
His offs are normal.
you don't have a lot to compare it to because the only other time he's been in the playoffs was the COVID year, and everybody went into that fully healthy, right? You know, and he had a great 17 games, 18 points. He was great.
And I mean, he was a baby.
But he has played 10 games in these playoffs, and he has 1 goal.
He was like a sophomore.
Yeah.
When that
1 goal, 3 assists. Like that. You expect a lot more out of Pettersson than that.
I think if you were to, how many games have they played?
10.
10. If you were to hear Pettersson only has 4 points in 10 games. You'd be like, how did they get to 10 games?
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, it's because the third line and the first line have been really good. Pius Suter, I don't know if I've ever seen a player get more scoring chances over 10 games and score on less of them. He is always in the right
Yes, you
spot.
have his teammate, Ilya Mikheyev.
Yeah, I guess. Mikheyev, here's the thing with Mikheyev, though. You know what made Mikheyev strong in Toronto that got him that deal?
Talking about liking soup.
That, and also, he learned in his last year how to drive. Mikheyev would take the puck, rush it from the blue line, and carve right into the goaltender. He has the size, he has the strength. When he was healthy, he was one of the only guys in Toronto that would actually drive the net, which drives me crazy about the Leafs, but I digress. He's not doing that.
No. He had it. Well, I mean, his contract year, ironically, I was like, oh man, this guy's figured it out. And it sucked because you're like, well,
He's someone else's now.
Sure hope they win this year because he's gone. And he played himself into a situation where he was just too expensive. And yeah, he's just not doing those things. He's a real enigmatic player. It's incredible that him and Pierre Engvall were line mates.
Yep.
It's the same player.
Well, and boy.
I mean, not the same player,
Man.
but just you see all the tools.
Yeah.
The tools are there. You're like, you have what it takes to at minimum be a top line player in this league.
Is it true? Mikheyev hasn't scored in a long time, too.
I wonder about the wrist issues. Like, maybe there's an injury there. I believe he missed a bunch of time this season. He was also a healthy scratch at one point this season. How healthy of a scratch was he? It's incredible.
Okay.
That you look at both teams that are in the second round, dead heat.
Yeah.
And you look at both the Canucks and the Oilers up and down the lineup, and you go, there's so many players who have so much more to give.
Right. I am trying
Adam
to
Wild.
I am trying to look up how many games it's been since he scored. It's been a lot.
Yeah, it's been.
And I feel bad for Pettersson with the with this particular set of line mates, but I also ask, who are they going to play him with? You can't split up the third line. Garland has been amazing. I can see why Dubas wanted Garland at one point. Small, shifty, full puck handler.
That's a Dubas guy.
That is a Dubas player,
Yeah.
and if he moves off the roster, he's going to Pittsburgh.
Rabid animal.
Did he play in the Sioux?
Rabid animal.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to check it out.
I don't think he did.
I think we should also get to Rick Tockett's comments post game because he called out the team. He called them passengers, and we can play it here while you.
I like that.
Yeah, it's
All right,
pretty,
play it.
Pretty
play
out
it.
there, and while you look up if he played in the Sioux.
This should be a segment called Coaches Pushing Buttons.
By the way, Moncton, go ahead. Anyway,
Moncton, not the Sioux.
Yeah.
All right.
Not X's and O's. It's a will to get the puck. It's not X's and O's. It's a will. There's times there we have some guys, the puck where it's going to go. You just got to get there before the other guy. And I think we're pausing. Some guys are playing pause hockey, and you can't win if you have 5 or 6 passengers or 7. I don't know how many it was. We'll take a look, but there's at least a half a dozen just passengers tonight. Quite frankly, that's what it was. But saying that, that's playoff hockey where the next game's a new game. So some of those guys can be a hero for us. So they got to step it up.
you know why they're being passengers? Because Darnell Nurse and Desharnais are going to kill them. Darnell Nurse, the one thing I'll say, has been extremely violent in this series, and Vancouver doesn't like that. They're not liking that. They're not enjoying that.
This whole playoffs has been super violent from everybody. It's just what the playoffs are, and we'll get into that with Boston, Florida.
I want to say that
It's a vicious series.
Nurse deserves a credit because towards the end of the game, JT Miller missed an opportunity to score, slammed a stick against the boards, and Nurse went right over to him and cross-checked him just to make sure. Oh, you're frustrated? I'm gonna piss you off even more. I'm like, that is a vet play right there.
Well, it's crazy of Nurse to put himself in the box.
Woo,
He
this
didn't
guy.
get called.
He did
Everything's
get a
fine.
cross-checking in the first. He did get a cross-checking in the first.
Yeah. The first one. Well, you can't call him twice.
No, you can't.
That's ridiculous.
It's a great series to watch. It's been a lot of fun. The one guy I wonder about for Vancouver is Phil DiGiuseppe, who was really, really good on the Bluger line. Teddy Bluger, Sam Lafferty, Phil DiGiuseppe were really good against.
That is the best name line in hockey.
Bluger, DiGiuseppe,
And Lafferty.
And Lafferty, yeah.
That's a great trio of names.
They put Di Giuseppe up on the first line for Pius Suter a little bit because I think that Tocchet got kind of ticked with him in the Nashville series. And I'm like, man, he's got speed. Could you try him with Pettersson? I don't know. They got to figure something out there.
I need to know. I need that to be the starting lineup for the Canucks next game, just for the video to be released of Tocchet announcing them. I need to know what all their names are. I need to know what all their nicknames are.
I think
What does a hockey person call someone named Phil Di Giuseppe?
Canucks take the game number 5. Oilers take game number 6, and we get game 7.
We're getting game 7.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
deserve
baby.
it.
Yeah.
We've been good boys and girls.
We have.
We deserve game 7 from this series. Sorry, Canucks and Oilers fans, for your cardio, but we deserve it.
It's time for Wendy's Fresh Take. And one thing that I do want to talk about is we've mentioned this previously, but we got to talk about the Canucks. We got to talk about the Oilers. We got to talk about that last minute and a half. Like, delicious, I would say, considering it's Wendy's Fresh Take. You see?
That's clever.
So the Canucks score, and then a few seconds later, they're able to throw, Evan Bouchard gets the goal. How do you feel about it, Steve?
Oh, I think it's incredible that he was able to pull that off. The Oilers are able to get, they're not just a one-line team anymore. They're able to get it done by committee.
Jesse, what about you?
It's just.
Jesse?
We need your opinion.
Yeah, we would like you to take a...
Oh my gosh.
Jesse's deep in the Dave's double right now. He's enjoying
It's just
it. Jesse, can you...
oh,
It would be great if you could participate in that. I know, listen, it's delicious.
I think what he's trying to say is there was a double-decker of goals at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Right?
I get it. All right. Listen, if you got a craving yourself, you should know that Wendy's is open now till midnight or later. Be like Jesse. Get yourself a Dave's double, and that is your Wendy's Fresh Take. Jesse, do you agree?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I think what Jesse meant to say is, who his favorite NHL player of all time is? Murray Craven.
Oh, stop.
That's a really good one.
Stop it. Jesse, what movie were you watching on the plane? What one was it?
So I figured it out. I went. So you can go see your watch history on Netflix, and on August 6th. Let me triple check. August 6th. Yes, I was watching Black Mirror season 6, the final episodes, Demon 79.
Oh, it wasn't a movie.
It wasn't a movie. Well, it's essentially a movie.
It's 74 minutes.
It's 74 minutes. We have it on the screen here. But it's the last episode of that season of Black Mirror, and that's the one I was watching on the plane, and you were watching it with me. Northern England, 1979. A meek sales assistant discovers she must commit terrible acts to prevent an imminent disaster. That's the devil who's like, you got to kill these people to save the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, really, 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 really good.
It was good.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, and because Adam, you mentioned like I enjoy horror things. Yeah,
You do.
I forgot it was Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror series.
But it wasn't horror, though. It was like dark comedy.
Psychological thriller.
Black Mirror messes with me, man. I can't watch it too much. Otherwise, I get dark, too.
I love Black Mirror.
Like the first one with the president and the pig, I'm like, dude, like,
oh, that goes way
so
back. Yeah,
messed
yeah.
up. I've never forgotten that episode. That's how messed up it is. It sticks with you, right?
I don't know what you're talking about, so now I got to go and watch it.
Oh, you haven't seen them?
Steve.
No.
Go through. Oh, that's
man,
fun.
that one's.
We should do watch along. Steve watches Black Mirror.
We should do
It'll just be
the greatest podcast that we have yet to do is just me and CJ talk about shows that neither of us have seen.
yes.
Oh gosh,
Neither of us watch anything.
By the way, we something else we want to bring up because we're talking about our tastes, right? And our various tastes. We've got a special little section at apple.co/listen with SDP. Jesse, can you explain a little bit about this?
Yeah, so Apple Podcasts actually reached out to us and they're like, hey, to introduce kind of your podcast interests and what you guys listen to outside of like our own shows and everything, can we launch this Listen With feature on Apple Podcasts? So if you have Apple Podcasts right now, and the link will be in the description, and Adam just read it out there, you can go to that link and you'll see this thing. It's called Listen With Steve, Adam, and Jesse.
Now let's go through the podcast and see who belongs with which.
Sure.
Take a wild guess.
So, just to explain the feature, there's a little background on us, on who we are, and everything we talk about. And then there's from SDPN, and then there's the shows that we recommended. So these are Steve, Adam, and Jesse Jesse's fave podcasts. And yeah, let's take a guess and see who recommended what.
Who listens to the Bill Simmons podcast?
There is very literally a podcast about Napoleon.
The Age of Napoleon.
Who could have that been?
Maddie.
Yeah, it's definitely Mad Dog for sure.
So
Yeah.
that's
Will not shut up about Napoleon.
that's Adam for sure.
Yeah.
And Steve, which ones are yours?
Science Versus, who is absolutely fantastic. I just like hearing her talk. It just so happens that the things that she is saying are very interesting and scientific, and she has lots of very educational guests. So if you like a little bit of everything when it comes to Science Versus. And The Morning Meeting, one of the more underrated podcasts with John Boy Media. I like hearing Jimmy talk about the sports biz, because like I feel like we don't have a lot of people we can kind of compare ourselves to, and you know, a lot of the media stuff that we end up hearing out there is very broadcast. And then you have this person who runs their own digital media company who's like, here's what's going on at her digital media company. And I'm like, this show is made for like me and maybe 12 other people. And I like it very much.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Adam, do you want to go through yours?
Hardcore history, Dan Carlin. We've talked about this for years. It's obvious. Age of Napoleon is not just Napoleon, Steve. It's everything around the effects of the French Revolution, my friend. Fascinating. And then The Rest is Politics from Goalhanger. This one is, they have The Rest is Politics US now. They have The Rest is History, The Rest is Money, whatever. But these two guys argue on, you know, one's Labor, one's Tory, but they also talk about politics around the world, and they do it in a way that they're not screaming at each other. They just they debate. They give each other a hard time. You can tell there's genuine affection there, even though they're on different sides of the aisle. And I love it because like everything in politics in North America is how do I yell louder? And sometimes you just want to hear about like the strategy. What do you think of this strategy? What do you think of this stage? It's like I want to hear about that stuff. And it's great for me. Like if I'm just bumming around not doing anything, it's like the best thing for me because it could just be in the background and I can listen and I feel very calm. Which politics are not usually a thing that makes you calm.
Very dadly of
Yeah, very dad. It's super dad.
And my podcast choices, I'll start in reverse here. Higher Learning with Rachel Lindsay and Van Lathan. Rachel Lindsay was the Bachelorette at
I
one
remember
point.
her.
Yeah,
Yes.
she was the Bachelorette.
She was great.
She was a fantastic season. And then she went on to work for E! News, doing all the like the red carpets and all that stuff. And then Van Lathan.
I forgot I had found my fitness.
No, that's me. That's coming up. Van Lathan, you might know him. He used to work at TMZ.
Yes.
He was the one who famously got in the argument with Kanye.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
Man, and he was so eloquent.
They have a podcast together, and it's one of my favorite podcasts. And it's obviously it made my list. They talk a lot about black culture, and they'll go into politics, and they'll break down everything in pop culture as well. Found My Fitness with Dr. Rhonda Patrick. It's essentially like listening to peer-reviewed studies. Her brain is just so much smarter than the average human, and the way she communicates is just in the most scientific ways. So some things go over my head, to be honest, because it's all a little sciencey, but the information you get out of there for life longevity and everything, it's really important for my life.
Is she one of those people who's just like, hey, I read something recently and I understood it immediately?
Hers is more like, I worked on this study.
Oh my God.
With,
Okay, so
with
even-
other scientists.
Wow.
You know? Yeah.
All right. Even more.
She's coming from an even deeper understanding. It's not just like regurgitating things that she learns. It's like she's also very much in this world conducting studies and all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
And then Bill Simmons, the Bill Simmons podcast is probably the most popular sports podcast in the world right now. So I don't really need an explanation for that. Second, besides Steve Dangle Podcast.
That's right.
They call him the pod father for a lot of the reason I love podcasting so much because of that guy and what he does with his podcast. Great stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so there you go.
There you go. So it's in the links in the description if you want to check it out. And thank you to Apple. That was very cool that we got to partner with them on this. So shout out to them. Boston, Florida.
The series rules forgot.
What do we think, guys?
I mean, okay, so I think Panthers fans right now are probably like, all right, Steve, let's hear it. Because there was another goaltender interference challenge that failed. And a lot of people are like, why did that fail?
It was a makeup call. Like, I don't think anybody should just
my
bandy
God.
around the issue. It was a makeup call. You can't call one and then not call the other. It was clearly the very similar play where everybody thinks it's goalie interference, and based on the rules, it should be called goalie interference and the goal should be taken back, but they didn't do the other one, so you can't do this one. It's a makeup call.
I know people were pointing out Ekman Larson is the one who took out Bobrovsky's stick. I was looking more at Heinen's stick being in Bobrovsky's skate.
Yeah, and right on the pad, yeah.
Which is, to me, like far more important. Bob is maybe sort of looking for the contact there with the arm. But Elliot Friedman, he's one of the most informed and powerful insiders in all of hockey. I was listening to the 32 Thoughts on the way in here. His best theory for why that counted is they didn't want to deal with it.
Oh yeah, no, it's 100%. We made a certain call in the previous game. Now we have a very similar call. We gotta keep our consistency here.
I'll be dramatic. And again, I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm a Leaf fan. Not the biggest fan of the Panthers. Not the biggest fan of the Bruins. I am a fan of hockey, so I'm watching. I hope this series goes 7 and they tear each other apart. I hope Game 7 goes to 7 overtimes and all of them collapse at the end of it. And then the puck just sits there. The Stanley Cup playoffs are bordering on illegitimate. Like I'll be.
All
See, the thing is, watching the Canucks and Edmonton Oilers, you wouldn't get that.
Yeah.
No, but like I'm teetering on that. You had and you have numerous reporters, credentialed reporters, including Freeze. This was part of the 32 Thoughts discussion. They release an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. They released an explanation. Can either of you guys pull up the 13 words or whatever it was, 12 words that they pulled up for the explanation?
You want me to read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's literally, it wasn't goaltender interference because it wasn't. Anyway, get back to eating your slop. Hey, I know I like them nice and sloppy. Like they're the lunch lady from Billy Madison, this league. Eat your slop, stupid. The NHL. The following is a statement from Gary Bettman. Eat your slop, dummy. It's not it's not goalie interference because fuck you. Hey, why isn't this goalie interference? Why isn't it goalie interference?
Stop.
What? I'm a paying customer.
my God.
I'm being the NHL. Here. You ask me a question.
No,
Here.
no.
Three cam it. Adam, you ask me a question. Ask me a question.
Well, the other play I thought was one of the more egregious officiating errors in all of the playoffs so far. Was Bobrovsky made a shoulder save. He made a save with his shoulder, and he went out. He thought he was squeezing the puck. So he went down in front of the crease, like in the middle of the slot. He went down on the ice, but he didn't have the puck. And the official didn't realize that he just made a save off his shoulder. The puck was just in the middle of the zone, and the Bruins were about to get it and score on an empty net because Bobrovsky was lying in the middle of the slot thinking he was squeezing the puck. And the official decided, I'm going to blow the play dead because Bobrovsky must have it or he's injured. And neither of that was the case. He was not injured. He just simply made a save and thought he had the puck, and the Bruins were about to score on an empty net. And the official was just like, all right, stop play. And all the Bruins are just like, what are you doing? And there's no repercussions for that. They stopped a scoring opportunity with an empty net, and you just got to move on. And I don't know how you get those things back where the officials cost a team possibly a goal, and you just got to move on with your life.
I have a question.
It hurts.
I have a question. Are NHL refs terrified of the Boston Bruins? I think they are.
In what way?
I really think because they can't officiate their games. Like, whether it's the Bruins getting the advantage on the whistle or the disadvantage on the whistle, I don't remember that. Like, I watch a lot of hockey. I watch a lot of Bruins hockey. I can't remember the last normal game. There's always fucking something. This Leafs-Bruins series was the most peaceful one, like, by far out of the four. over the last 11 years.
It was.
By far the least amount of nonsense. This is, it's just a bunch of friends trying to look at that.
So if in case, I assume you haven't seen this yet, but this is
Oh
what
my
happened.
God.
So right here, as I described, the Bruins have the puck by the faceoff dot. They have the puck. Bobrovsky is almost literally in the slot, way out of the zone, because he made a shoulder save and he thought he was squeezing the puck. So he comes out, he makes the save, but if you see here where my mouse is, that's where the puck is going. It bounced off
By the hash
shoulder.
marks.
And he thinks he's saving it. So he's just way out the net
Dude,
here.
Bob is in the concourse getting
And
chicken fingers. Are you kidding me?
Right about now, while the Bruins are shooting the puck on an empty net, is when the referee's like, oh, wait, no, Bob was injured. He's down here. He squeezed it. Little do they know the puck's just out of the zone.
Is
like,
he-
not anywhere near the goalie.
Did they score?
No, they stopped play.
No.
On
But he took the
this
shot.
This shot did not go in. No.
Oh, well,
It did. It lands about here, deflected, but like there's a whole play going on.
Man.
Well, that's rough.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
rough.
ever seen a whistle for that ever.
No.
Ever. Like, if a goalie gets hit in the mask,
Yeah.
sometimes you might see it. Dude, not
They thought
playoff.
they thought this injured him. Just a shot off the shoulder.
We need Jack Edwards on this one. Just take the Andreas Janssen audio and put it over this. I mean, if he's not lying unconscious, you can't blow the play dead. But it's
like-
the same situation.
Yeah.
Your job as the linesman or the official when you're stopping plays is like make sure you're stopping play for a good reason.
Yeah.
Like, make sure the puck is actually with the goalie.
And
And they can't do the simple parts of their job.
I also want to say that hockey games don't stop because players are uncomfortable. So even if he was hurt,
Remember,
like and
Dude.
they continue play.
I hate to be unk about this. Daniel Alfredson near murdering Darcy Tucker and then scoring a game-winning goal while Darcy Tucker is like twitching on the ice.
It's uncomfortable watching.
That's a
that.
crazy play.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Forgot
a
about that.
crazy play. And
Yeah.
guess, like, I watched, there's a really funny clip of Draymond Green was lying on the floor and they just simply were like, that's enough out of Draymond. And play continued. And the teams exchanged possession like 3 or 4 times before the play
Yeah.
stopped.
Yep.
Like the Golden State Warriors had the ball and they're dribbling it up the court, and one of their players is just lying half dead. Like I'm across sports. Like imagine to talk about a Bruins moment. Gregory Campbell, when he was on the Bruins, and the league favored them, blocks a shot. Breaks his foot, continues to play, and that moment is remembered. It is immortalized because he stayed out there and he gritted it out and he kept going, and now you have that moment forever. But what if after the first block shot they were like, "Oh no, no, Greg, no, are you okay? Are you? Shh, I'm talking to Greg. Are you all right? Is there anything I can do? Do you need a pops? What flavor? What flavor? I'll go get you a popsicle. Freezy. Do we have the free? It, and it's a goalie.
I know.
Maddie, if you want to bring this up, this is the after the official blew the play dead. This is how pissed the Bruins were coming up to the officials, being like, "What the fuck did you just do? Why did you stop play?" And they were right to question the whole situation.
Okay, this picture is so funny to me.
Pat Maroon
need
being
Pat-
wronged is hilarious.
I need Patrick Maroon. No, that's just his permanent face.
Yeah.
Like, I need Patrick Maroon to score a big goal in these playoffs because he's just a skating mouth. That's all he does.
If he
He patrols the red line and he complains to the officials. Do you see a letter?
No.
This guy talks to the refs more than any captain or assistant in the National Hockey League. No one spends more. How many minutes does he play a game? 12? Maybe? No one talks to the refs more than
I
this
didn't
guy.
expect this to be a
Yeah,
dump
I
on
didn't
Pat
either.
Maroon.
It's not a dump on him. I'm accurately portraying. Every shift ends and he's talking to someone. This guy is the league's greatest conversationalist.
If he was a Leaf, they would start calling penalties against him.
Oh!
Like that's what
yeah.
Michael Bunting did.
Oh, no, they just send Dan Kelly over to duct tape his head. And it'd be fine.
It'd be okay.
Pat Maroon knows how to win.
He does know how to win. And a lot of it is politicking. A lot of it is complaining and stating your case to the officials. The Bruins, like, to me, if I'm the ref, after enough years of this, especially in the playoffs, it's a select group of guys who get to do playoff games, and he's in all of them over the last half
Maroon
decade.
is, yeah.
If I'm one of the refs that has done so many games with Patrick Maroon, isn't there a little bit of a, what is it now, Pat? There's got to be a little bit of, what is it now, Pat? I think if any other Bruin goes over and complains, they're like, oh, I'll listen to you. But what is it now, Pat? What can I help you with this time, Pat?
I'm curious to see if Brad Marchand can suit up for game number 6. That'll be an X factor for the Bruins, but it's such a tighter series than I anticipated.
Yeah.
Like either team could come out of this.
I'm upset though with one thing with that series. The
Paul Maurice doesn't get to talk between periods.
not that.
No?
It's the Bruins and Panthers media. They're not doing a good enough job riding for their teams.
What?
They're not cape baiting like the Oilers Canucks are.
Oh, these playoffs, I'm never going to feel bad for being very open about my biases ever again.
Because at least you're
Ever
open
again.
about them.
You listen to the show knowing exactly who I am and who I cheer for. There's a lot of liars out there.
And
a lot of liars
And I want to
out
say
there.
the Boston media has been very tame. Florida media have been very tame.
Oh, I think you're dead wrong.
Oh, they've been nothing on the Canucks at Oilers. What have you seen in Boston and Florida really that's been that bad?
There's one reporter in particular.
One guy?
who is the minister of propaganda. I don't want to call them out directly.
Okay, well there's
Oh my God.
there's probably
They're
10 on
disgraceful.
each. Like if you asked anybody in the Vancouver media, Soucy, there's no way he should have ever been suspended. If you ask anyone in the Edmonton media, they're like, should be 5 games. Which is how you know that the Department of Player Safety got it relatively right, because both sides hate it.
I know you guys are. Do you know how out of control you have to be for me to be like, you know what, Paros is on it?
Yeah, you're making me think Paros might have this.
Dude.
It's wild. Yeah, I mean, listen, and here's the thing about Boston media is they're known for being obtuse. That's their thing. And I haven't seen it that much.
You know what people from Massachusetts love more than anything in the entire world? Massachusetts.
Yes. Yes.
Adam,
They friggin' love it.
are we going to talk about with this series you falling for an AI?
Oh, man.
You
recording.
dumbass.
I fell so hard for
Shame.
this. I was
Shame.
like,
So can you explain what happened to
I
the
watched
people who
this
don't
video,
know?
and it looked like Jim Montgomery. And you have to remember, too,
It is Jim Montgomery.
I'm sitting on my couch. I just got my daughter home from school. I flip open Twitter and I'm watching this and I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But I'm also doing this, doing that, whatever. And he calls, I thought Jim Montgomery lost it. And I'm like, this is incredible, because he calls Pat Maroon Fat Pat to the media.
That didn't give you pause?
Well, I'm like, well, it's Pat Maroon. He's probably got a good sense of humor about it. I don't know. This is, I was so had by this video.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed.
I'm not going to play it.
But yeah.
it was tweeted. Matt, you can pull up the community note, which is hilarious. Adam got community noted on the tweet he quote tweeted.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wait,
not a real
you
video.
got community noted?
No,
the other
the
guy
original
did.
video
Oh,
got community noted, but Adam quote tweeted this one.
Yeah.
So there's a
I was
community
like, oh, the
note
video,
on it.
and then I owned it. I was like, well, I got AI'd. It happened.
Also,
I got
Jim
Boomer.
Montgomery is, I've heard, signed with Major League Hockey.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's been a banner week.
That account, Adam, is where they do the AI
that
generation. So remember, the one I played in the VIP of John Cooper is from this account.
Home of AI enhanced sports parodies. Wow, they even say it in the bio.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can tell I was not paying close enough attention.
No.
The answer to this, and this has always been the answer, and I've never taken my own advice, is never tweet.
Oh, never.
You should never tweet. Never.
No.
And
are you thinking about tweeting? Take a hammer to your phone.
I want to talk Carolina, New York, because
Nope. Moving on.
because the
Dallas, Colorado.
The question in the chat, Jesse, last night, people were talking there. First
Okay.
off, I get a bazillion Mitch Marner trade proposals in the chat.
Same here. on my
Have you
streams,
gotten a
yeah.
good one yet?
I think people don't. I think it's impossible for people to give you a good trade proposal if they don't know what the market is, and no one knows what the market is, and no one knows if the guy will be traded anyway.
I did a video yesterday about like just people asking me questions, and I did my best to answer them. And I didn't do any Marner trade proposals because the video would have been an hour long.
Yes. Yeah. I think that can be for later. But the other question is, can Carolina pull off a reverse sweep?
I say when
Jesse?
they were down 3-0?
Jesse?
Yeah, like they're getting closer because that was the game the Rangers sort of had, is what I was saying during the stream. Like, this is the one you need to close the door on the casket and bury the body, because if you're going back now to Raleigh and all the Hurricanes have to do is win one home game, and then it's a coin flip when you get to Game 7. It's like, who knows in Game 7? And what the Hurricanes did on, what was that, Tuesday night or Monday evening? They shut down the Rangers offense. Like, I thought a lot of the high-end players from the Rangers were missing. You're relying on a Jacob Trouba breakaway goal for your only
Like,
goal of the
what?
game. It was
Short-handed, too.
Unreal to watch, but they got their offense going. They made it easy for Freddie Anderson. Freddie Anderson allowed that one goal and was good for the rest of the game. Like,
Trouba scored that goal, and I texted at him immediately. I'm like, this is your Super Bowl.
why?
That goal shouldn't have gone in.
Oh,
That goal-
no, Freddie should have had that one.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
God. He should have had it, and it was the only goal he let.
It's not. Listen, Freddie playoffs. Just throwing
Freddie
it out
should
there.
have had that, but he did enough in the rest of the game to give them a 4-1 victory. Like, that's all you got to ask for out of your goalie there. And their team defense in Carolina, when it's on, it is the best in the league. And
Yes.
if they play like this, and for the first 2 periods, it was very low event hockey. The first couple games, we ended the first period, and there was 5 combined goals. Like, the periods were ending 3-1, 3-2 every time, and this time it was 0-0, and then it kept being 0-0, and then it was 1-0 Rangers going into the third period, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna limp out of this thing without any offense, and that's gonna be the storyline. 2 playoffs in a row, your offense doesn't show up, and then all of a sudden in the third period, the offense shows up, and their defense is always gonna be there. So you wonder if they just shut things down tomorrow night. They don't allow the Rangers to do anything on the high end side of their scoring, and they could easily pull out one. And then you go back to MSG where you've already won, where you just need to win one more, and the impossible could be done. So this series definitely isn't over.
Jesse, you've been streaming this series, watching very closely, all right? 5 games. Have the Rangers been the better team in any of them?
Yes, because I consider a lot of people don't want to say when a team gets goalied that they're not the better team, but your goalie is your
part of
team.
your team.
And
Yeah.
for 3 games there, Igor Shesterkin managed to win a couple hockey games for the New York Rangers, and I consider him a part of the team. So I will say, in an instance where even if your defense isn't the best, even if your power play is as bad as the Carolina Hurricanes power play, Igor Shesterkin is a member of your team, and he made them better in those games.
All right.
50 saves.
So he allowed, I think it was 3 goals.
3 in an empty, yeah.
If he turns into a pumpkin, this series is over. It's over, and it's going the Hurricanes' way. They're gonna reverse sweep it.
I think that's a little dramatic because he's been on top of his game so far these playoffs, and it's not. I don't even think it was a bad game. It wasn't an Igor game.
That Jordan
definitely.
Stahl goal was friggin' disgusting.
Yeah. It
was really good.
The steal and then the little left to right deke around him, very good.
It's weird. I had this moment. I don't know why. Sometimes I imagine the players chirping each other. And there was a play earlier that game, might have been earlier that period, where Jordan Stahl tried this move, and it just failed miserably and resulted in a turnover. And I was thinking, like, what would be the chirp that I would say to Jordan Stahl? Now, I've met Jordan Stahl, so my chirp to him would be nothing. Because he's huge. He's real big. But if I was on the Rangers and nuts, I would say, you're not Eric. And then he pulled off a great friggin' move that would make his brother Eric proud. That was vintage Stahl family. It was big, it was imposing, and it was skilled. It was absolutely perfect in what Carolina needed out of their captain.
And with the 3 goals the Hurricanes scored on Monday night, you look at them and you say, in each instance, there was a preventable play by the Rangers on the defensive side of the puck, where there was a turnover, or Jordan Stahl came in the zone and he passed through 2 defensemen to have that little breakaway. Kuzi got the puck on a turnover and he did the bird flap and he scored. And then the Martinook one was Trouba could have cleared the puck and he was behind the net and it kind of went limply to a Hurricanes player and they fed Martinook out in front, if I remember all those goals correctly. And like that's where the Rangers are kind of the weaker side of this in the series. It's the defense. Like they're not as sharp as the Hurricanes are, where they're just stellar at playing great defense and they rarely have these lapses in
Puck to
play.
the forward, breakouts.
They're
breakouts.
excellent at it. And the Rangers, like, I easily think they can win 1 out of 2 here. Like it's not going to be an impossible task, but they just need to break through that defense a little, throw more pucks on net. Like that's something they did very well in the first 3 games. You just get those like low percentage shots and eventually they're going to go through and Freddie's going to make a mistake.
Should Rempe be playing?
I liked Rempe out there.
Yeah.
Like with Hedl back out, it was kind of like, okay, throw Rempe in, see what you got. Like I don't mind Rempe in there at all.
It reminded me, not to make it about the Leafs, but when the Leafs played the Hurricanes, they would take Reeves out. Even when he was playing well, because the Hurricanes just don't invite that. They just don't invite that kind of play. If the Rangers get through and they end up playing the Bruins or Panthers, I think we're going to be seeing plenty of that young man. I don't know if he can be as effective against Carolina. You gotta skate with those guys, and I don't think he's a bad skater.
No.
He's good for his size.
He's definitely a bit of a giraffe out there. Yeah, because the legs are a little wobbly for his skill. Yeah,
He's 21.
Yeah, exactly. It's an endearing term I'm using it in. Because he's so big. But I think like the Matt Rempe factor is definitely a thing when he's out there. Like you can see he's the leader in a bunch of scrums.
Yeah,
and the Hurricanes have committed their fair share of really dumb penalties consistently in every game this series. There's been at least 1 dumb penalty by a Hurricane. So if you have Matt Rempe out there as a distraction, and he had like 2 offensive tries last game where he entered the zone and he's trying to do stuff. So like I think Matt Rempe can be out there easily.
I just feel like no one told either of those teams about playoff hockey.
What's that?
Lock it down, and it's supposed to be war, and it's supposed to. I got a crick in my neck. It's this way, that way, this way, that way, this way, that. It's been great to watch.
Game 5 wasn't like that for the first 2 periods, and then the third, the Hurricanes open it up.
Oh, it's an odd man rush-a-thon.
Yeah.
Like just every game. It wasn't like that early on.
Yeah.
But it's almost like the coach is like, all right, behave, and then it's like, all right. You go for one. Go for one. Just try.
If Zibanejad, Trocheck, Panarin, all the big guys, if Laugh shows up again, if all those guys show up offensively, I think it'll be over. Like I think the Rangers will take it, but it's a matter of if they shut them down again. So that's where I'm kind of sitting at.
I do want to give a couple little shout outs because there's so many good stories in this series that are sort of going under the radar. Kuznetsov's a very obvious one. Like waived. Career looks like it's basically done, and here he is being a factor in the playoffs. And if
Healthy scratch game, 2 or 3, I forget, and then comes back and scores the next game.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Jordan Martin waived at one point?
Was he?
I think he was. And like I've always liked him as a player. I think it might have been a cap thing or whatever. I thought he was waived. Always been a really good player.
He's been very good.
Yeah.
I want to then quickly touch on the Dallas-Colorado game that could be the end for the Avalanche in these playoffs.
And Steve is correct that Martinook was waived this season.
Wow.
Oh no, last season. Sorry, 20. That's from October 7th, 2022. Was waived at one point. Yeah.
Oh,
so there you go.
Okay.
So
still.
So is it over tonight? Is it over for the Avalanche tonight?
I mean, they're talking like it is. That Nathan McKinnon quote is crazy.
What's the quote?
Oh man, it was. I'm trying to remember the exact question, but he was like, oh, I guess so. Like he just sounded so resigned. If you type in McKinnon, I guess so.
Yeah.
You might find it.
It's important to know, too, that Valery Nichushkin will not be available because he will be obviously a part of the NHLPA player assistance program. He's been suspended for 6 months. This is his third time in it. I hope that he can get the help he deserves and needs. But the thing is that it is a huge hit to the Colorado Avalanche.
2 straight playoffs.
Yeah.
They were up 3-2 on Seattle. He goes out. They lose. They're down 2-1 to Dallas. He goes out. They lose. They're 0-3 without him in the playoffs since winning the Cup.
Yeah, so this is the third, because after this happened, everybody got the rules of the player assistant program. So Nichushkin was in stage 2 and he violated a rule of stage 2. So with violating a rule of stage 2, you enter stage 3, and entering stage 3, it becomes an automatic 6-month suspension without pay.
So at the earliest
sucks.
At the earliest, he can come back mid-November. I think the date is November 13th.
Because it's not a 6-month suspension from like in season. Like this isn't beginning October. Like this is like from now.
This is from now. Yeah.
But as we've seen with the Rangers, the hardest thing to do, especially with the team with Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon on it, is finish it out.
Mm-hmm.
What do they have to do to finish it out? Because
Dallas?
what is Dallas going to...
Obviously. Yeah.
What do they have to do?
Be Dallas. I don't think they got to overcomplicate it. Keep your eyes on the players who you need to keep your eyes on. Colorado's getting Jonathan Drouin back, so that helps dull the blow of Nichushkin a little bit. Yeah, I mean, they're just 2 completely different players. Staple someone to McKinnon. Keep an eye on Makar, who they neutralized pretty hard.
Yep.
In Game 4. Dallas is just too deep. They're too deep. And I think that was always an advantage Dallas had over Colorado, is they're deeper. Colorado was accused of being a one-line team during the regular season. They did their best to acquire some guys to mitigate that. Now that they're weakened, and Devon Taves also missed Game 4 with an illness. Now that they're weakened, it's just waves and waves and waves. Where is Game 5? Dallas or Colorado?
Game 5.
Game 5's
is
in Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah, home
because
team.
they were top of the West.
Yeah.
Boy. I couldn't even process the question. I was like, what did he ask?
Sorry. I mean, that advantage. I know Dallas has lost their share of games at home, but that's a team you should be able to pick apart.
So before you move on,
Yeah.
most playoff goals before turning 21 years old. Jaromir Jagr has 14. Jordan Staal has 13.
Wow.
Jeremy Roenick has 12. Brent Sutter has 12. And Wyatt Johnston has 11.
Funny that you bring him up because I just sent you something on him too, by the way. Keep going, though.
Just a stupidly good player.
Jesse, if you got to bring this up. Dennis Bernstein had this. He's a host on SiriusXM. And he said, reminder of how Wyatt Johnson got to Dallas with the 23rd overall pick in 2021. The pick was originally a Washington Capitals pick.
That's right.
It went to Detroit in a 4-for-1 deal for Anthony Mantha. Stars general manager Jim Nill traded down 8 spots to pick up a 2nd and a 5th in the 2021 draft, along with the first pick 8 spots later. So they got Wyatt Johnson, Artem Grishnikov, who I think is a Leaf now. Is he not?
You know what? No, Flame.
Flame, that's what I mean. Yeah, sorry. Why did I say Leaf? Always has to be a Leaf. And Jack Barr, but it doesn't matter because the Detroit Red Wings needed Sebastian Cossa.
Oh, he's supposed to be a really good goalie. The problem with getting a goalie with a first rounder is they're going to take a while.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying, wow.
I got so many like gripes with people who relitigate drafts because like
Adam,
the Swayman thing, like where
that was
the Leafs didn't draft Swayman.
They drafted the
nobody
CHL
else
goalie of the
did.
year.
hey, you know what? I actually did some research. The Panthers had 3 picks ahead of Swayman in 2017.
There you go.
Could have had him.
You know
Coulda
what?
had him. Let's go narrative.
Wyatt Johnston went 23rd. 22 teams passed on it.
I know.
Like, it's not like
Man,
drafts are
that's
such a crapshoot that it's like, oh yeah, we could look at how it went, but I don't really fault anybody for messing up a draft.
So
Room. No,
you know what, Adam? Like, let's talk how important drafting is. So Adam mentioned a player earlier, who like you don't expect much out of, but if they were to step up, it would be huge for their team. Dylan Holloway with the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that's often said about the Oilers as well, they don't have a lot of picks, and when they do have a pick, it's never a very good pick, which is a far cry from what the narrative used to be. There are some teams. Detroit, ironically, is one of those teams. Yeah, well, they just haven't had the right pick. Dallas nails every frigging one. The reason they're so deep and the reason there's no holes in their lineup is bang, 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 bang. They hit every damn pick. No one wants this guy because he's short. We'll take Logan Stankoven. No one wants this guy because his name's Wyatt or something. Like, what's the deficiency in his game? We'll take him,
And we'll develop him too.
and they find, it reminds me of like a Jordan Eberle getting drafted.
Yep.
He drops all those spots, or like an Alex DeBrincat.
I can't believe the Leafs passed on him. I'm still
Man.
upset. I'm mad that they passed on Konechny too.
They've made some choices. They've made some choices that were not the best ones.
Yeah.
But like, dude, they don't have weaknesses.
Yeah.
They don't have weaknesses. They just make smart trades. They make smart signings. They make smart draft choices.
Did you see the Biz clip about Jim Nill?
No.
Now I don't know if I'm getting this right, but apparently,
You take it from me.
That's one way to start a
should.
sentence.
so the Jim. Well, no, because what I saw was
Honey,
that essentially
Yeah.
Dallas raided Detroit's scouting staff,
Oh.
and so Detroit used to be the team that hit on every pick,
Right.
And a lot of them, Jim Nill included, now in Dallas.
That's an interesting.
I thought that was interesting.
Thing.
I thought that was relevant. Having played over 50% of the possible games through the first two rounds, if the Oilers win round two, this according to Puckpedia, Corey Perry will earn an additional $50,000 performance bonus. This will increase his total bonus earnings to $275,000 and increase Edmonton's bonus overage into next season from $3.45 to $3.5 million. The Edmonton Oilers next season, essentially the cap rising, they will wipe it out.
I think they need to win. Because if
Yeah.
they don't, it's going to be more difficult next season. Man.
There are 11 teams currently and potentially 12 by the end of the season that will be in overage. Edmonton, Dallas, and the Washington Capitals, believe it or not, are the ones most in overage.
Ooh.
So, yeah, rough. I don't know if you saw it too today. It's been reported Brendan Dillon, who's been a big part of the Winnipeg Jets defense, it's looking like he is not likely to return. Dillon's camp did not receive an offer and held no conversations, even though he wants to come back.
Wow.
Now, I wonder, it's only May 15th, so I wonder if this is the agent going, hello, you know?
I wonder about his injury recovery too.
Yeah, because it...
Weren't you able
Significant.
to like see tendon?
Yeah.
Like it was nasty. Cut.
Yeah. Yep.
Yikes.
That's,
I
I mean, he
like
was a
that
big
player
part of...
for him too.
Yeah.
Or for them.
Yep.
Losing him was where they kind of lost that series.
I agree. And I thought their defense kind of went through him. So he'll find...
Well,
somebody.
that and Colorado just carving through them like butter. But yeah.
I think they'll find something. Now, something else this morning that is not great. This is a new lawsuit filed against the Chicago Blackhawks, according to Rick Westhead. There was a woman who was a contractor with the team, alleged sexual harassment. I'm not going to get into the details on the show in 2022, as well as fraud and breach of contract. The Blackhawks said in a statement that they invested her harassment allegations and found insufficient evidence to substantiate them. However, you can't be faulted for saying, don't love your internal investigation process. And
Right.
the last time they conducted one with having to do with Kyle Beach specifically, they had an outside organization. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know that the third party did do the investigating here.
So John McDonough, who was their president,
Yep.
who paid with his job.
So there was outside counsel in the investigation, by the way. Sorry.
Okay.
I want to correct that.
So McDonough, who was let go from the Blackhawks or resigned or whatever, he's not there anymore, and they basically pinned everything on him to do with Brad Aldrich and the beach investigation and everything. Was he still with the team at the time?
No.
He was not.
No, he had retired.
Oh,
no, sorry, McDonough?
Yeah.
During Beach or during this?
No, well, this is what I'm trying to get to, because remember the conversation we had before the show? I'm like, oh, it's another thing attached to that investigation, and you're like, no, this is a separate thing.
It's happened in 2022.
From 2022, because if you remember the Beach story, or rather the Aldrich story, there was a story of a female staffer with the Chicago Blackhawks who was made very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think there were allegations.
McDonough was
there.
released from his role with the Blackhawks in 2020.
2020.
Fall 2020. Spring 2020. April 27th, 2020.
Would this have been then under Stan Bowman?
I don't know, because I don't know the lineup, but the Blackhawks are saying that that the person's identified by the complainant have never been, nor are they're not employees or contractors of the Chicago Blackhawks either. So there's a lot of we don't understand here, because I have no insight into what this is. So this is why I don't want to get too specific with it, but it's of note.
She was a contractor.
Right. So, but what they're saying is the person's identified according to the external review.
Oh, the people that
she identified.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, are not now have ever been independent contractors or employees of the Blackhawks. They may have been there as a friend. They may have been there at an event, a team event or something like that. Could have been a client. You don't know.
Got it.
Right.
But it's so that's what the Blackhawks are saying back. Important that you at least hear that. If you want to do more digging on that, you can read Rick's report. It's
not Rick's report. He's just tweeting. The tweet. The reporting was done by CBS out of Chicago, and the investigative reporter is named Dave Savini.
There you go.
Investigative reporter for CBS 2 in Chicago. It's their exclusive article. So
yeah. But anyway,
Rick just tweeted it.
Long story short, Blackhawks, man,
dude.
This is why they got to be. They better have their I's dotted and their T's crossed.
Yep.
So we'll leave it at that because we don't know enough, and nobody knows enough. But it's a story worth noting. Now, for the rest of the NHL, I've been actually kind of surprised by the lack of news outside of the hockey games themselves. Normally, this time of year, you get a lot more hirings. You get a lot more firings.
Keefe was fired. Green was hired.
Yeah.
But that was last
talking
week.
about Berube.
Okay.
That's last week.
That was like 3 days ago.
It's Wednesday.
No, I'm with Adam.
The Leafs had a presser on Friday.
It's Wednesday. Yeah, that's 5
You're
days
like,
ago.
You know what? If you don't hit me with news every day.
I'm telling you, I think it's kind of quiet.
Drop another diss track and my life is yours. That's you, but like with coaches.
That's what I'm actually kind of, it's interesting because Fried said last week that he thought that Berube could be the Leafs coach as soon as Sunday. Now he's saying he's leaning Berube, but nothing's done till it's done.
Mm-hmm. Because they've interviewed McClellan now, and
please God, no.
They got to do all their due diligence. Who knows if I assume the Carolina situation sorts itself out with Rod Brind'Amour, but he needs a contract, so maybe they wait on that to make a decision. New Jersey also needs a head coach. It looks like Keefe could be a candidate for that, but who knows if he wants to coach or just sit at home with his money.
Winnipeg needs a coach.
Those are interesting. Winnipeg needs a coach, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just saying. I'm looking. I'm curious, and I wonder if a lot of the coaching decisions are hinging on Rod Brind'Amour. The reason I bring this up, is because the Carolina Hurricanes, depending upon what report you read, what day, have gone down the road and almost signed him, and then rescinded the offer, but then they're back in. And
hey, you know what you want to do with your head coach during the Stanley Cup playoffs? Fuck with him.
Well, I honestly think it's a whole bunch of nothing, and as soon as something sorts itself out with the Carolina Hurricanes season, he's signed.
Do you think there's any way that Rod Brind'Amour is not Carolina's head coach next year?
Not really.
Because they are playing with fire a little bit.
Yeah, but they were last time too.
Yeah.
He wants to be there.
This is kind of what they do. Also, if I'm Brind'Amour and the Hurricanes, I want to move off of the assistants. And I don't know if Brind'Amour is bullish on the assistants, but the power play has been just awful in the playoffs. And I think like you have to blame somebody for that if you go down here against the Rangers. So maybe that's where the negotiations are stalling, that he's a little bullish on bringing them back. But I would want to move on from the guys running the power play.
I don't disagree.
Like if he wants to keep them, like,
Maybe the Leafs could trade with them.
if that's where you want to, if that comes down to keeping Brind'Amour or not, you probably just keep him, pay him.
Here's a name that came up because I was looking for other news other than the games. Marc Bergevin interviewed Columbus Blue Jackets.
Yes. I by the way, had heard the Hunters with the Blue Jackets. I'm now hearing Oilers.
With the Blue Jackets, with the Hunters.
Yeah, but I'm punched out of the insider game at the moment. So I'm just telling you.
Who told you?
I'm just telling you what I know.
And how much did they pay you?
Yeah, Steve. Adam wants more news. You should.
I want more news.
You should
Get
break,
back into the
break
insider
something.
game.
Yeah.
Break something for us.
I gotta. Sorry, guys. Can we wrap this show up? I have a check from the Edmonton Oilers I have to cash, on the way home. And then. Yeah, Adam, don't worry. I think you're going to get your wish very soon.
I know.
Can we?
So I just want to say that
Yeah,
I did ask around about the Bergevin thing, and from what I am told, it was due diligence more than seriousness. But the understanding that I am given is that they're going super veteran with management. So if you thought Bergevin was veteran, think super vet.
What's the name?
Can't give you the names.
Oh, okay.
Can't give you the names. Super vet. Super hockey guy. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, man. Columbus is weird. They're run poorly. What can I tell you?
The more I learn about the Blue Jackets and their goals, the more I'm like, you probably should have just kept Babcock.
Well, I mean, it tracks, right? Because when they hired Babcock, super veteran coach.
What changed? He was extremely rude to one of your young players.
Invasive. Weird.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like, do you have internal policies for, like, I guess.
Well, the guy that hired him is still there.
Well, here's my thing with that is Babcock's name didn't change.
Uh-huh.
And his behavior didn't really change either.
Okay.
You hired him knowing who he was.
Yep.
And then one report came out and you went, oh, and you moved off him right away. And I'm just like, listen, you made a bold decision and then made a timid one. You walked it back. Either don't hire this person, which probably would have been the right call, or keep him.
If you're upset about Shanahan, look up the Blue Jackets record under John Davidson.
Oh,
It's shocking that he's still in charge there.
That doesn't help.
No. Anyway,
I'm with you.
so I wanted to at least touch on some other things going around, but there isn't much.
Can we do the Mark Messier Award?
Sure. Yes, we can.
Jacob Trouba won the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award.
The Balls on Your Chest Award.
If you're not aware of the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award, it is an award that is handed out by Mark Messier. He is the only person who gets a vote on the Mark Messier Award. And it is the strangest thing in the world that you have a trophy that is decided by one single person. Did you guys know this?
No.
I had absolutely no idea.
No idea.
Why isn't it brought to you by Lay's?
The voting on the Mark Messier Award is done by Mark Messier. I will read from NHLrecords.com. Voting for the Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award. Mark Messier solicits suggestions from team and league personnel to compile a list of potential candidates for the award. However, the selection of 3 finalists and the ultimate winner is Messier's alone. Presented in honor of one of hockey's greatest leaders. Vancouver has questions about that sentence. The Mark Messier NHL Leadership Award was first handed out in 06-07. And this season, Mark Messier decided, I'm going to give it to Jake Trouba because reasons.
Captain of the Rangers.
Man, he's going to have to be dead before a captain of the Canucks gets it. Quinn Hughes, I'm sorry. You'll never win this award. You'll never win it.
I don't know if anyone has like a bonus for winning the Messier award written into their contract, so I don't think it matters.
That is bizarre.
I think it's really strange to have an official NHL award that goes up in the Hall of Fame and there's a trophy and it's on your resume when you retire, to have it just decided by one guy who's like, you know what? You led the best. I pick you. That's weird.
No,
It's weird, Jesse.
Very
You're right.
weird.
Yes.
Well, he's also the only. Isn't he the only alive guy with a NHL award named after him?
I haven't checked the death certificates of the other award trophies, but
He is.
maybe.
Well, it's just very weird to have hockey, right? And all their trophies named after very old people who have been gone a long time. And then Bill Russell comes out every time someone wins the Larry O'Brien trophy and hands out the Bill Russell trophy.
Yeah.
It's just fascinating to me because I'm like, hey, that's the guy from the trophy.
I think you should give people flowers while they're still here.
Yeah, no, I agree.
How many
I
times,
agree
though,
with you.
every time I hear that award, how many times has Wayne Gretzky turned down an award privately?
Turned down an award?
What I mean is, I think the NHL has gone to Wayne Gretzky and said, we'd like to name something after you. And Wayne's probably like, no, thanks. And probably because it hasn't been the right idea or the right fit. But I would put money, lots of it, on Gary Bettman for sure has had this conversation with Wayne. And Wayne, they just haven't come to some sort of accord with it yet. Because it's outrageous that Wayne Gretzky doesn't have an award named after him.
On the I think it was our most recent VIP episode, Jesse talked about the hedonism, was it wheel?
Yeah, treadmill.
Treadmill.
Yep.
Where you achieve something and then once you achieve it, you're not even satisfied because now you've automatically moved on to the next thing. And you're just feeding your ego. I don't think Gretzky has that at all. I don't think he needs it. I've never gotten the impression from Gretzky that he needs to be the center of the
Take one look at that video of him dancing behind his wife. They're just having a good time.
That's
now.
a retired. He's literally, other than the fact he's Wayne Gretzky, he's a regular retired man
who works at TNT.
Who works at TNT. Yeah, but like, he's just screwing around. He's having fun.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think he's doing it for? The money? Like, he's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
Like
Gretzky made more money in 1993 than Leon Draisaitl, I think, does right now.
I believe it.
That's how much the Kings were paying him.
I believe it. Like hey Wayne, we're gonna name a trophy after you. What an honor. He doesn't need it. I think he's content.
Can you guys
fine.
give me last year's winner of the Mark Messier Award?
Not
For
if you held me at gunpoint.
No, I have no idea.
I think the first winner was Matt Sundin.
Matt Sundin was the second winner in the 07-08.
Oh, that was the first. Mark
Chris
Messier.
Chelios,
Chris Chelios.
who he's on the ESPN panel with right now.
Don't look at the screen.
Okay, don't look at the screen. I saw something out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, I think those are all the answers. So,
No. Here, I'll read it off.
Connor McDavid.
Steven Stamkos won last.
Wow.
Matt, you can bring it up since we have it there for the people to see. The previous winners of the Leadership Award: Stamkos, Kopitar, Bergeron, Giordano, Simmons,
Wayne Simmons.
Derek Engeland, Nick Foligno, Shea Weber, Jonathan Taves, Dustin Brown, Daniel Alfredson, Shane Doan, Chara, Crosby, Aginla, Sundin, Chelios.
So there's some galaxy braining going on for this award because by my count, there's at least 2 non-captains on the list.
Engeland's one of them, right?
Engeland wasn't
Yeah.
a captain. He was like the de facto captain. I think they should have named him the captain just to have a inaugural captain of the Vegas Golden Knights. And then Wayne Simmons, I'm almost positive was
No, of the Predators.
nowhere near
No.
the captaincy of the Predators.
Yeah.
But all the rest
It
of them, I'm pretty
seems-
sure were.
It definitely seems like he's just going on like everybody needs to get one. Like he's not going to give a guy like Bergeron's not going to win it twice. Crosby's not going to win it twice. He's going through like I can't give it. I gotta. Everybody's got to get one.
And to Adam's point, no Canucks.
Yes, no Canucks.
I don't even think former Canucks are on that list. Are there any former Canucks on that list? Not a single one.
Oh, Matt Sundin.
yeah, Matt's. Yeah, but that was
Well,
pre-Canucks Matt's.
Pre-Canucks.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So
You're right.
He deked out Messier. He was like, "Whoa, you weren't expecting that, were you?" But nobody else.
There's not a single
not a
one,
single
you're right.
pre-Canuck.
And I'm trying to think, how many teams are on there twice? I see the Kings and I see the Flames.
So this is the first Ranger to get it.
Yes.
Oh, and the Bruins, too.
Yes, yes.
No Oiler on that list.
No Oiler. Yeah.
That is surprising. Surprising.
Wow.
This is the first former team of his.
Damn,
to-
Jesse.
To win
You
the
just
Mark
blew my
Messier
mind with
Award.
that.
Yeah, I saw it going around on Twitter, and I was like, let's fucking just
We
talk
need to
about
do an
this award.
audit of how these awards are given out.
It's okay. This one, and then the one that's decided by the broadcast, the guys in the
play-by-play
booth,
guys, yeah.
they decide the Jack Adams Award.
Yeah.
Why?
That just seems like a really important award to be. I don't know. I don't get that one either.
I would like them to be like, and to present the George Vezina Award, here's George Vezina, except they can't do that because he was born in 1926.
That's right.
What?
I don't know why you. I
Why
don't know
did
why
you
you went
bring
that
that
way,
up?
but
Why not?
I don't understand. I don't understand it either, Jess. I'm trying to figure out where he's going with that.
I'd like to keep you on your toes.
Oh god.
Like Mark Messier.
how does that
I
fit?
bet you thought I was going to give it to a captain.
Oh, because his name's on the award and he was a player, and you want George to be the one that
Yeah. What?
decides the best.
I thought
goalie.
that was pretty obvious.
Yeah, I didn't catch that. Maybe that's me though.
All right.
All right. Press conference.
The other one, I bring this up all the time. The other gripe I have is the GM of the Year award is voted on after the second round.
Stupid.
Boo.
Why, people?
Just do it after the Cup final
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
give it to the winner so that he's like got something like under his arm while he's raising it above.
No, but they got to hand it out at the draft and delay the draft by 45 minutes.
I hope they don't.
so
do
everybody
that.
can stand up and applaud this general manager.
And let's bring
no
out.
one cares.
Let's bring up
Including the general
14
manager.
people to announce one draft pick. I can't wait. God, the draft is so scintillating. Are we
No,
doing
but
a
now
press conference?
we're not getting the in-person draft anymore. So
No, it's true.
It's over.
Hi, I'd like to thank my team of several assistant general managers, 20 scouts, and for some reason, 5 or 6 children
What's up with that?
with the scintillating 23rd pick of the, like, who gives a shit?
I know.
Get your kids off the stage.
Yeah.
I believe we have to go because we have VIP to
Oh,
record.
yeah. We got to do VIP. Let's do it. So that's it. Click like if you liked it.
You didn't thank them.
You didn't think? Okay, you please.
That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this podcast. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Mark Messier is the only voter for his own award.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.